definitely a segue into what my esteemed colleague Elaine is going to present us. Don't worry for those who already are getting ready to leave the room. It will be a short presentation. It's more about presenting the framework. As you said, Phil, you know, there are lots of different pieces, and development is also about bringing these different pieces together and seeing if there's a path forward. Elaine, over to you.
So I think, I mean, we come back to what is the role that the World Bank can play in supporting women's entrepreneurship. And in one of the tasks that we have is we're going to be helping the Saudi government develop their own interventions for supporting women's entrepreneurship. And you can see we've already been successful with managing to get women to drive, so we'll take full credit for that, even though it has nothing to do with us. But I think it's actually, and one thing I will point out though is like even Saudi, which probably has the least, made the least progress in terms of supporting women entrepreneurs, when they actually have started opening up, they have made tremendous progress. So there's a lot of latent demand there. And as an example, I give you like the total entrepreneurship activity in Saudi Arabia for men is 12.9%. And for women, it has gone up from 1% in 2009 to 9.7%. So the women are really closing the gap with the men very quickly. And I think it's once you have that open and willingness of the government to be able to allow it to happen, things can move very fast. And especially in the MENA region, we can see this also happening too. So what is it that we can do for in terms of interventions? I mean, we've talked about various different interventions coming from finance or business development services or market access, enabling environments, looking at the regulatory and the rules things. And you can put these all together, you can have separate ones, but it also helps, I think, that you have to have the government backing behind it. Because sometimes when we're working individually or we're working like one NGO is doing it and another donor agency is doing it, and we're not really kind of coordinating and not bringing a comprehensive program together, then we just start overlapping. We see it in Palestine where there's so many incubators there. They're totally overlapping each other and they're not producing high quality entrepreneurs because they're all competing for the same ones. So you need a different type of service element. You need a different entry point into it. So I think this is where we need to take a more, like everyone brings it up, the whole ecosystem, holistic view of it to see where is it that they're performing well, where is it that they're not performing well, and work together to try and build a more comprehensive program for it all. And I'm not going to go through some of the good interventions, like on finance interventions, we have the Ethiopia one where you're able to use, they're disbursing $2 million a month in financing to women entrepreneurs because they developed a line of credit just for women. And I think we're starting, this theme comes up a lot where you have peer-to-peer learning among women, you have mentorship with women, and in a way you don't want to reinforce that segregation, but I think for initial stages it actually is very important. I know I went to a women's college and we produced Hillary Clinton and Madeleine Albright, so you know there is something to be said about like segregating the sexes sometimes. The fact that they can learn from each other, I think, creates that kind of enabling environment for them to succeed later on and to be more. It really is a confidence issue, and I think Karen also mentioned this too. That you know one of the soft skills, the personal initiatives, has been the most effective way of getting women entrepreneurs out there and being able to get them to realize that they can do it just as well. And then it's also breaking down the barriers that and the biases that might happen in the access to finance activities. There's also market access interventions that you can do. Like WeConnect International, that's more of a private sector approach, but then you also have the public sector. And I think from the World Bank perspective, we have to start looking at what are the government interventions that can help women entrepreneurs. Can you do federal procurement of women-owned businesses? The US government does this. To be honest, I didn't realize it wasn't as, it's been successful in the sense that for the first time in their history in 2015, they actually hit their targets. But their target was only 5% of procurement. And that was a little bit astonishing. We would have thought that you would get more women-owned businesses, but maybe there is a lot more that needs to be done to try and encourage women to be involved in government procurement, or maybe they're just not in those sectors. So what is it that can be done? So I think it does take a little bit of research and digging to find out what are the good examples that help to support women entrepreneurs, especially on the regulations and the legal side. There's a lot of discriminatory laws that we need to actually work towards. And this is something that the World Bank has the platform to be able to do and work with governments to enable these kind of changes. And we can build the case for like why it is important. for them to do it. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you very much. It wraps it up nicely.